So the 2025 NAMM show is going on right now in Anaheim, US. And I'm here in my home studio in Sweden, watching videos, reading articles, trying to catch up on everything and just following the entire circus from afar. Just like you do, I guess. Sure, I might have a little bit of inside information about a few things, but honestly not that much. And I made a video a couple of days ago talking about the fact that Native Instruments is working with Akai to bring some of their instruments onto the platform, which is kind of crazy just as it is. But today we're going to take a look at this one, the new Handytraxx Play from Korg. This one was announced a year ago at NAMM 2024, and now it's officially here. So that's pretty cool. And this is just one out of the 4 in the lineup, the Play version that you're supposed to play with and play around with or whatever. The other ones play records too, but that's like the only purpose of them. This is aimed towards DJs and people into portablism and turntablism and, you know, using loops and effects and all that stuff on your actual records. So that's promising. There's also another one called Handytraxx Tube and a third one called Tube J, and the last one is called 1-Bit, all with their own sets of features with different ways of converting vinyl to digital through a USB port, comes with different types of cartridges and different vacuum tubes for analog warmth and whatever. Basically higher audio quality. And for someone like me in this specific use case, functionality just matters more than having the highest potential audio quality from vinyl. Sure, audio quality always matters, but in this case, this just makes more sense. This is going to go into my portable practice setup for scratching and a little bit of beat making. So this is going to replace my reloop spin that I bought a few years back and haven't used as much as I intended to. Mostly because I don't like it too much. It's not as good as I expected, even though I replaced the fader with an actual inner fader. Something about it just doesn't feel solid. The platter moves up and down whenever I put my hand on it, and it doesn't really speak too well with my pretty expensive and nice power bank. So, you know, hopefully this is just going to be better. It also runs on batteries if you wanted to, like normal AA batteries, so that's going to be cool. What's actually really promising about this is that this one was developed by Korg together with the former president of Vestax. And Vestax actually used to make a turntable really similar to this back in the day, called the Handytraxx. Now it's Handytraxx Play by Korg, and this is more than just a reissue. This one has more stuff going for it, and I think it's time to get it out of the box and check it out. You are gonna unbox a turntable.
A turntable? Oh, it's holding it. How do you open this?
I don't know.
I'm just gonna... Oh, is that right? Wait.
It's a tiny one.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah.
Aww.
Like the top of it.
Oh, cool.
Handytraxx Play!
Handytraxx Play! I don't even know what that is. That one. That looks cute.
That one?
Yeah. But you know what would be even more cool? Melanie Martinez.
This is the thing itself,
I know.
so be careful.
Oh my god, no. That is cool. I don't want to take this off yet.
No, be careful with that. That's right.
I broke some of those before, I know.
Yes, you did.
When I was little.
So the lid goes on top like that, right?
Yeah.
Now you can
Oh,
take it on the beach.
That is cool. Take it on the beach. What are you doing?
Yeah, you can do a little... No.
I want to do it.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
I could eat this.
Now everything should be up and running, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there's no needle in it. Oh, now there is.
Of course there's a needle.
I didn't see it. That is cool.
Because this one is made for scratching. More than just playing.
Like, chicka chicka choo.
Remember this one. This is classic.
Oh wait, I've heard this before. Just because it's blue, honestly.
Won't stop the beat, can't stop the beat, won't stop the beat. And the beat goes on. The beat goes.
Bye.
Now, it's been a couple of days and I've spent some time with the Handytraxx Play to wrap my head around it and get to know it and form some opinions. And I do have some negative and some positive for sure. First of all, the hardware itself, like this with the lid on, feels nice and sturdy. It's all plastic and it's lightweight, but it feels really nice and it's definitely portable. This could be taken pretty much anywhere. In terms of the functionality, it functions and it works and it does the job that it's supposed to do pretty well. But it's also a little bit quirky with a few things. First of all, the connectivity here. This tiny thing right here is actually the power switch for the entire thing. That's a little bit strange, but that's what it is. Power over USB-C, that's nice. Aux input, that's also nice. Speaker on and off, because it has a built-in speaker, which comes in clutch sometimes. But then we have the main output on RCA jacks. I'm not a huge fan of that, and we have seen it before from Korg. The Chaos Replay over here also has inputs and outputs on RCA jacks. I guess you could kind of get away with that in DJ equipment sometimes, but for something like this, I don't know. I just think a better decision could be made about that, but it is what it is. Next up, we can switch from MM to ceramic cartridge. We can also change from direct to master output on the headphone output on mini jack and a pot for that, and also a switch to go hamster style and pretty much reverse the crossfader. And you can run this one off of 6 AA batteries, which is really good for portability reasons, obviously. Now, what makes this one a little bit unique compared to other portable turntables is everything that's going on over here. Sure, we have a master volume, but then we also have a filter, a looper, RPM settings, and a pitch setting for the turntable itself, and also a delay section. So a portable turntable with built-in effects doesn't sound like a bad idea, and it's not. It's actually really cool, even though I keep repeating myself, it's a little bit strange sometimes. For example, we haven't said anything about a start and stop button because it doesn't have one. That's just what it is. What you have to do is basically lift up your tone arm and now it starts. When you go back, it stops. Like a really old school type of turntable. Which is a little bit odd considering that it's made for DJs. I know a lot of turntable DJs who does a lot of cool tricks with the start and stop button, just turning out the motor for some tricks they do. And that's not going to be possible with this one unless you do modifications and stuff. Modifications is really popular in this entire scene, I know. I was actually hoping for this one to be a portable turntable that didn't need any type of modifications to be pretty much perfect for most people. And maybe it still is. Maybe. But I could also see a lot of people wanting a way to stop and start the motor. That's just a thing. But sure, for someone like me who's not that advanced or good at what I do when it comes to scratching, I don't necessarily need a start and stop button, you know? This is good enough for someone like me, but it's just worth pointing out. Something that made me a little bit confused when I first started using this one is the switch over here. Scratch effect, bypass, or on. And bypass is bypass for real. Nothing over here works. Not the crossfader, not the built-in effects, nothing. If it's set to bypass, it still works as a normal turntable, but you can't do anything else. And who would want that if you buy something like this, you know? Turn it on and everything works, so why do you even need this control? I don't really get it, but it's not the end of the world. Now let's try some of the built-in effects, starting with the looper. And over here I know that I have a drum break that we found on a live stream a few weeks ago, and it's pretty cool. We need to hook it up, and I'm using this mini jack to the headphone output because, again, RCA. And that's it. Now the loop functionality here is as simple as they come. It's just a matter of hitting rec and then stop at the right moment in time, and then you have a loop. But what's crazy here is that the buttons doesn't register when you press them, but when you release them. So that's worth taking into consideration. Now let's get back to the start of this. Like that. It's not perfect, but I think it works in this case, just for demonstration purposes. Now, on top of that, we could do something simple, like...
And the beat goes on. Beat goes on.
And the knob over here that says mix controls the mix between your recorded loop and the input from the vinyl itself, which is a little bit finicky to get right sometimes, together with the volume for the headphone output over here, because right now when we're using the headphone output as the main volume over here does absolutely nothing. And maybe we want to run something into the aux input instead. Okay, that volume can't be adjusted on the turntable at all. It's just the master output of whatever device you might have connected. So the main volume of the external device hooked up to the turntable determines the max volume of everything. You're not able to tweak that whatsoever. Let's use RCA2 just to make sure. Yeah, that's the same functionality, but we now have a master volume instead of the headphone volume, but basically the same thing. Again, sure, it's not the end of the world, but having an extra knob over here to control the volume of the separate input would just be kind of cool. And the built-in effects on this one, the delay and the looper and the filter, even though they are really cool and, you know, powerful creative tools, they only work with the audio that comes from the actual turntable itself. None of that works with the external input. That's understandable, I guess, but it would be really cool to have some way to route the incoming audio to all that stuff too. That's just me. Now we gotta take a listen to the 3 filters and the built-in delay too, and we're gonna use some normal scratch samples for that. Right? Now with the delay, like this. Like that, and let's change the tempo. That's cool. And we can go the opposite way like that. And the delay keeps ringing out even though I close the crossfader. That's my preferred way of doing things, so I like that. Now let's take some music instead, and let's move through the filters. The first one. The second one. And the third one. So the last one obviously has a little bit of modulation going on, and that could be cool for some stuff. I don't know. Now the crossfader over here was developed together with the former president of Vestax, and it's not a bad quality crossfader whatsoever, but some people might think that the cut-in is a little bit too far away. So straight out of the box, it does have a few millimeters of travel before anything happens, but that's just the way it is right now. You are able to replace this crossfader yourself, and you're also able to take this entire faceplate part over here and flip it, kind of like that, and then turn the entire thing over, and then you have a left-handed setup. So that's also one way of doing things. Now, when it all comes down to it, we gotta consider the price point for something like this too, right? This one can be pre-ordered from Sweetwater right now for $400, which is more than the Reloop Spin for $300 and the Numark PTO1 Scratch for $169. So it's a different type of unit in a different type of price point, and you gotta pick and choose, you know? For someone like me, the build quality of the unit itself matters a lot, and this feels a lot better than the other ones, at least to me. I'm not a big fan of the RCA main output, that's just a weird choice to me, but I am a fan of some of the built-in effects, and I think that's really handy. Having a delay on the unit itself makes a lot of sense. I think the crossfader is definitely good enough for someone at my level, which is not the highest level in the world, but still I try. And the sturdiness and the stability of the actual platter, I think that makes a lot of sense, and it makes a big difference for something like this. And I'm not sure how big the potential market is for something like this, because it's more expensive than the competition, but I'm really looking forward to using this one myself, to do my normal like scratch practicing, to try to become better at all that stuff, and also for bringing this one with me to record stores and look for samples, just previewing samples before I actually buy a record using the built-in speakers. That's just a cool thing. And that's it. That's my first look at Korg's new Handytraxx Play. Thanks a lot for watching this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Until then, ha det gott!
Yeah.